Sketching graphs of completed square form. Y equals to x plus a whole thing square plus b. Given that y equals to x plus 5 whole thing square minus 2, so in this case we know that x square is actually positive, so we'll get a minimum point. So how do we find the coordinates of a minimum point in this case? To do our sketching, we need to have three letters, three main words: M, L, and I. M for the minimum point in this case, and minimum point have two coordinates. We'll get our y value first, it's -2. And how do we find our x value? That happens when the x plus 5 is equals to 0. So if I were to have x plus 5 to be equals to 0, what will be x? So x will be -5. After m, we'll find our equation of the line of symmetry. The line of symmetry usually always cut the x-axis. So we must remember to write x equals to, and in this case is x equals to the coordinate, the x coordinate of the minimum point, -5. Now the next question says to solve the equation. Now we are going to find our intercept, I for intercepts, and the equation itself happens to be that the y is now 0. So in order to find the x-intercept, we have our equation. What do? We bring 2 over, and then we try to get rid of the square. So we need the square root. Remember to write it as 2 separate answers because the answers value have be different. So let us find the value for x itself. So I'll need to get rid of 5. Then that will be square root 2 minus 5. Or negative square root 2 minus 5. Okay, so these are the answers that you get. Now we are going to start to sketch the graph. So if I want to sketch the graph for this, I already have my important values M, L, and I, but I'll need one more for the I, that is the y-intercept. Y-intercept occurs when x equals to 0. So I substitute, replace x with 0 into the equation, and I get the y-intercept to be 23. In general, when they give us in the exam paper, the x and y axes are usually always drawn for us. So let's start drawing the graph. So imagine this is the axis that is given to me, x and y axis. Okay, and let us first look at our x-intercept. So I'll have -6.414, -3.586, at least something that is more proportionate. And the line of symmetry, x equals to -5. Now we notice that the y-intercept is 23, so it's actually quite large, quite high. So I have to mark it at a higher point on my y-axis. And my minimum point is -5, -2, so it's actually quite a low value for my y value for the turning point. Then we complete our graph. Remember to label. And that's the answer.